The big news, of course, is the collision between the Black Hawk helicopter and the American Airlines regional jet at Reagan National Airport. Interestingly enough, I was just at Reagan over the inauguration weekend, as were many Americans. Authorities confirmed that all 64 passengers and 4 crew members, as well as all 4 service members on the Black Hawk, are presumed dead. The president spoke about this today, and here's part of what he said. Number one.
The agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bull. The Department of Transportation, his government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity. So I had to say that it's terrible.
He also had this exchange with Caitlin Collins of CNN about his assertion that DEI might have had something to do with this collision. Number 30.
Do you even yet know the names of the 67 people who were killed, and you are blaming Democrats and DEI policies and air traffic control and seemingly the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter. Don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation right now?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think with the names of the people, you mean the names of the people that are on the plane, you think that's going to make a difference?
Does it comfort their families?
They are a group of people that have lost their lives. If you want a list of the names, we can give you that. We'll be giving that very soon. We're in coordination with American Airlines. We're in coordination very strongly, obviously, with the military. But I think that's not a very smart question. I'm surprised coming from you.
Are you blaming airlines?
The new Secretary of Transportation is Sean Duffy. He too spoke. Number 11.
Last night the president had said that this could be prevented, and also that air traffic people questioning why they may not have communicated with the helicopter and what to do.
So we are going to wait for all the information to come in from this vantage point, but to back up what the president said, what I've seen so far, do I think this was preventable? Absolutely.
What the president put on Truth Social last night was, and I'm quoting, "The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It is a clear night. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good." Back to Sean Duffy, number 17.
The flight path that the helicopter was on, is that a common flight path, and is it normal for helicopters to get clearance to cut across busy approach paths?
So I don't know if you all could hear the question. It's a question about the flight path of the helicopter. I don't want to go into too much detail about the information we have from the FAA, but obviously it is not standard to have aircraft collide. I want to be clear on that. But prior to the collision, the flight paths that were being flown from the military and from American, that was not unusual for what happens in the DC airspace. And as this investigation moves forward, we will be able to provide more information to you about the details of that statement.
So I wanted to follow up on that question regarding the flight path, because you said it's standard. So can you speak to the conversations with air traffic control? Were there blind spots here? I don't know if you think so.
So the question is, were there blind spots with air traffic control? I don't want to make statements about that. I don't lead into that answer. But again, I think whether it was air traffic control, whether it was military aircraft, helicopters, or the American flight, everything was standard in the lead up to the crash. Now, obviously, something happened here. You'll get more information and more details as this investigation moves forward. We'll learn what happened. But again, those who live in the D.C. area, we see military helicopters fly up and down the river. It's a standard path that they fly. They're used to aircraft landing at DCA, and there's a procedure in place because this happens every day. Something went wrong here. I look forward to the time and point when we can give you that information, but I don't want to comment on that right now.
In 2023, the New York Times had a long piece where they talked about potentially catastrophic incidents like this that occur, quote, multiple times a week, close quote, that are avoided. Big article in Just the News by John Solomon, whom we had on the program many times. Headline, Mid-Air Collision Over Nation's Capital, preceded by months of near misses and safety warnings. He writes just 14 months before last night's fatal mishap at Ronald Reagan Airport, the FAA received a safety expert report that warned America's air traffic control system is suffering from quality control issues and staffing shortages that put safety at risk, end of quote. Report warned that challenges in the areas of process integrity, staffing, facilities, equipment, and technology all have ties to inadequate, inconsistent funding. Together, these challenges contribute to increased safety risk and should be regarded as incident precursor, close quote, as governments make for risky. The November 2023 report warned that personnel shortages among air traffic controllers are forcing people to work longer hours and make sudden last-minute changes to flight plans that increase risks. The report said, quote, overtime is at a historically high level and increasing. High rates of overtime for extended periods introduces risk. Several associated issues include absenteeism, lower productivity, and fatigue. When air traffic is rerouted, put into holding, or space is increased between aircraft to accommodate understaffed adjacent areas, the opportunity for mistakes in instruction is multiplied due to the abrupt change in the operation and the increased communications required to facilitate irregular operation, close quote, the report said. It also said this, quote, while each element of risk might not be material, the combined effect of irregular operations necessitated by staff shortages erodes the margin of safety, close quote. Regulators acknowledged that in 2023, there were 19 serious near misses at U.S. airports that could have been catastrophic, one of the largest totals apparently in many years. This past October, the FAA followed up with an audit looking at the increased risk of runway incursions at the nation's 45 busiest airports. And while that audit was underway, several near misses were reported at airports, including at Reagan in D.C. That one had a men's college basketball team on the plane. Just 2 weeks ago, the FAA opened an investigation of a near miss in the skies above Phoenix, Arizona. Back in April, a dangerous collision nearly occurred at Reagan. FAA said an air traffic controller instructed a Southwest flight to cross runway 4 while JetBlue flight was starting its takeoff roll down the same runway. The JetBlue flight had to abort. And in December at LAX, when a private jet carrying the Gonzaga men's basketball team nearly crossed a runway as a Delta flight was taking off. Audio from the control tower showed an alarm flight controller yelling, "Stop, stop, stop." The CEO of American Airlines said, it is not clear why the helicopter came into its path. The helicopter was flown, according to Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, by, quote, fairly experienced crew, close quote. And according to the CEO of American Airlines, the plane was being flown by a pilot with about 6 years' experience. So he does not know what happened or how it happened. Meanwhile, a pundit on CNN blamed Trump for the airline crash because he claimed Trump's hiring freeze cause staff shortages. He then quickly retracted what he said.
Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.